The city stood like a promise carved in stone.
The northern lords refused to send aid.
Without their levies, the harvest will fail. The city walls will remain undermanned.
Not just a capital, not just a fortress, but the heart of a people's identity, wrapped in walls of faith, memory, and sacred meaning. Jerusalem, and at its center stood the temple, a structure believed to connect earth and heaven, where prayer rose like incense, and generations believed they were safe under a covenant older than empires. But on this day, the illusion of permanence was about to break.
The Babylonian war machine, a force unprecedented in its scale, gathered outside the walls of the doomed city.
Because outside the walls, an empire waited that did not negotiate with history. It erased it. This is the fall of Jerusalem. Welcome to Everlight Animations.
This tension cannot hold. We must appease the governor.
Appease him! Your cowardice threatens our very foundation.
Before the siege tightened its grip, Jerusalem had already been weakened from within. Not by armies, not by swords, but by decisions.
You undermine my authority at every turn.
The people starve because of your greed.
Silence!
Years of political instability, shifting alliances,
Do not walk away. The hour is late, and the judgment of the Most High is upon us.
warnings ignored, prophets speaking words that felt uncomfortable rather than convenient. A nation slowly convincing itself that security could be maintained without alignment, and survival could continue without correction. And yet the city still stood. Its walls were strong. Its people were confident. Its temple still rose above everything like a crown of stone and gold. But history has a pattern it rarely breaks. When a foundation is neglected long enough, pressure eventually arrives to test it. That pressure came from Babylon. Babylon was not just another kingdom.
From the ashes of the conquered, Nebuchadnezzar builds his golden empire. All who defy him shall know the taste.
It was an empire that turned conquest into identity. Under King Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon became a force of disciplined expansion, an engine of siege warfare, engineering, and psychological dominance. Where other armies fought battles, Babylon fought outcomes.
The Chaldeans are upon us. The prophets warned us this day would come.
Look at the dust.
Cities did not simply resist Babylon.
They are countless, my king. We must yield, or all is lost.
So be it. Lower the banners.
They calculated whether resistance was even survivable. And Jerusalem had become a calculation, overdue for its answer. The siege began.
We must leave before sundown. The rumors are true.
But my brother is still outside.
At first, life continued in fragments. Markets still opened, though emptier. Gates still stood, though guarded. People still spoke of hope, though quieter each week. But the circle around the city tightened. And with every passing month, the city learned a new language. Scarcity. The food supply weakened. The water supply strained. The elite and the poor began to share the same uncertainty. What once felt temporary began to feel permanent. Outside the walls, Babylon's army settled in. Siege works rose. Encampments spread. Watchtowers monitored every movement. Escape routes disappeared one by one.
Please, let us out! Do not leave us here to die!
The city was not being rushed. It was being contained.
Have the sappers
That was Babylon's method. Not chaos, control. Inside Jerusalem, desperation replaced confidence. The temple still stood at the center of it all, visible, unchanged, almost mocking the collapse happening around it.
Look at the temple! What is this sorcery?
Is it a blessing or a curse?
How could a city containing something so sacred fall? That question itself became part of the illusion. Because sacred spaces do not guarantee protection from consequences. actions define outcomes more than structures do. Months turned into starvation, and starvation turns time into something unbearable. The human body becomes weak, but the human spirit becomes fractured. Hope begins to argue with reality, and reality always wins. Then came the breach. The walls of Jerusalem, weakened by prolonged siege and internal collapse, could no longer hold the pressure. Babylon entered, not in one dramatic moment of cinematic glory, but in a progression of overwhelming force. Street by street, gate by gate, home by home, resistance collapsed under the weight of exhaustion and inevitability. Then the center was reached, the temple. The heart of everything they believed could never fall. Imagine the moment. Smoke rising across the city, the sound of destruction echoing through sacred halls. Gold stripped, stone broken, fire consuming what generations had built to last. Not just a building collapsing, but a worldview breaking. A belief that physical structures could replace moral stability, that visibility could replace alignment.
Accept this offering, great ones. Avert this destruction!
It's falling! Run for your lives!
That symbolism could replace substance. And then it fell. Not because it lacked beauty, but because beauty without foundation cannot endure pressure. The temple was burned. The city was taken. And the people were led away into exile. Not just displaced physically, but forced into reflection spiritually. Jerusalem had fallen. But the deeper question remained. Was the collapse only about Babylon's strength? Or about something internal that had already weakened long before the siege began? History rarely gives simple answers. Armies matter, strategy matters, power matters. But so does the unseen architecture of a society, its choices, its values, its discipline, its memory of truth. Jerusalem's fall was not only a military event, it was a convergence of external pressure and internal erosion. And that is why it still speaks today. Because modern cities may not be surrounded by siege ramps, but lives can be surrounded by pressure. Pressure exposes foundations. Success without grounding becomes fragile. Strength without direction becomes unstable. Confidence without correction becomes vulnerable. And when pressure arrives, everything hidden becomes visible. The ruins of Jerusalem whisper a lesson across time. No structure is stronger than its foundation. No system survives forever without truth at its core. No external protection can compensate for internal collapse. Yet even in this story of destruction, there is something deeper than ruin. Exile is not only loss, it is also reflection. Sometimes what is broken externally forces rebuilding internally. Sometimes collapse removes illusions that comfort once protected. Sometimes endings become the beginning of clarity. So when you look at the fall of Jerusalem, do not only see destruction, see warning, see pattern.
From the sands of Egypt to the marble halls of Rome, all great empires rise. But inevitably,
See truth, because empires fall, cities fall, systems fall, but the principles beneath them remain constant. What is built on alignment endures longer than what is built on appearance. And what is rebuilt after truth returns can become stronger than what existed before. If this cinematic journey through the fall of Jerusalem moved you, subscribe to Everlight Animations for more deep historical stories that reveal the hidden patterns behind ancient events. Like this video and share it with someone who needs to understand that nothing external can remain stable without internal strength. Because even the greatest city can fall when its foundation is no longer whole.